It's Monday evening, and that can only mean one thing. Welcome along to Apex Racing TV's live coverage of the iRacing Israel League. After 3 rounds, we've had 3 different winners, and it's shaping up to be a fantastic race yet again as we join you live from Virtual Road America. Circuit's 4 miles or 6.5 kilometers long, depending on your units of choice, and it's got 14 corners, including the never-ending carousel, the fast right-hand kink, and the tricky braking zone down into Canada Corner. I'm Dane Baird, and joining me in the commentary box tonight, we've got Adam Barth. He's also going to be controlling the cameras and overlay you're seeing on your screen. So, Adam, welcome to the commentary box, and how's it going?
Yeah, it's not going too bad. The start of another week in isolation for most of us as well, and looking forward to seeing what's going to be on show here at Road America. I had a go in the Porsche GT4 car, the car that we're seeing on display here today, the weekend in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and things went pretty well there for me. I got a second place, and we'll see which drivers come out on top after first of all this qualifying session, and then the race we've got after that.
Yeah, we've both had a bit of a drive in this car and track combination. It's a pretty fun one, but it's also pretty difficult, especially on the cold tires. First lap is always interesting. The first sector is pretty much just 3 connected long straights, so the tires don't really get warmed up until almost the end of the lap, and it's going to make it pretty interesting for our driver. It's going to be tiptoeing around the circuit, so we can see some of our drivers are going to be setting their first times on the board. Ido Isaac, the first one to do so.
Because it's such a long lap around here, I wonder if this might just be the end of their out laps.
It looks like you're right. Yeah, we've not got any lap times so far. It's just they're crossing the line for the first of their out laps. And here's the first hot lap as he comes around turn 3. Oh, we've got a bit of a spinning car there. Caught out by the cold tires, probably. You see him in the background there in the red car.
And the championship standings, they are looking good if you're a Nir Nave fan, if that's anything to go on. 3 races completed for him so far, 1 win, 2 pole positions and 3 podiums. He's loving life at the top at the moment, isn't he, Dane?
Yeah, definitely. He was the winner of the first round at Laguna Seca, and he's done pretty well in the other 2 races, obviously coming second place last time out at Sonoma. And he's got a pretty healthy lead of 18 points over Hagay Farran in second place. We've also got Alon made his debut last week, impressing everyone with a win, and he's up into 5th in the championship standings. We've also got Michael Sherling in 3rd. He's snuck his way up into 3rd place with a podium position and some pretty good race results. And it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers can shuffle around the league standings later on today after qualifying is over.
It's going to be interesting to see how many lap times these drivers can get in, because it is a 10-minute qualifying session, and that's surely going to be an invalidated lap for Alon Day there. It is probably one of the longest laps we're going to go to all season. In a 10-minute race, if this was a race, you'd probably get about 3 or 4 laps in before the checker flag comes out. So I wonder if these guys have just filled the car with fuel and are just going to go flat out for the full 10 minutes. Do you reckon that's probably better than setting 1 lap, coming in and doing another lap after that?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, lap times here, if I can recall correctly, we were setting over 2-minute lap times at Road America. It's a very long circuit, as you're saying, and yeah, as we see Isaac setting the first lap time, we see 2-minute 20s. That seems to be the benchmark so far from the first few drivers crossing the line. And if you're gonna take the risk and go and fuel up, it might not work out so well for you. You've got to warm up those tires, obviously, and I think they only get 2 laps in this championship to qualify, so probably not the best of ideas.
No, is this something that's changed for this week? I was trying to recall what happened at Sonoma last week. Was it a closed qualifying there, and have they changed it to an open one for this week?
I'm not entirely sure if it was closed or open, but I do recall them having only 2 laps. We'll have to see if they all head into the pits after this second lap. Be interesting to see, as we see Michael Sherling setting second fastest time. I've got some 2-minute 18s coming out on the board as well.
This guy was looking pretty quick in practice, Dorian Tabechnic. He has gone straight to the top of the tree here in qualifying with a 2:18.472. If that was done in the official race that I was doing at the weekend, I'd be about a second and a half adrift at that, I reckon. I was lapping just inside the 2:19, so that is a mighty lap by the number 6 Porsche with the Pennzoil livery, and everybody else is going to have to try and find some time, Dane, because as you can see, the intervals between first and second, 9/10 of a second.
Yeah, definitely. He was fastest in the practice session just before this, and he is not in the championship standings, and we haven't seen him on stream because he is a new driver for this week, so it's good to see that maybe these broadcasts have been getting the word out there, and we've got some new drivers for this week.
Just having a look back through the qualifying session at Sonoma, it looked like it was a closed qualifying there, so maybe a sweet tweak to the rule format for this race meeting where all the cars are on the circuit. It is, as you can see from the track map, a pretty big circuit, so you're probably not going to run into too much traffic, but you wouldn't mind a Porsche being in front of you because there are quite a few long straights here, and that can be quite important in terms of getting a few extra temps on the board in terms of slipstream anyway.
Yeah, definitely, but of course got to remember that those straights are right at the front of the start of the lap, so you're going to get an advantage from the slipstream, but then they're going to be stuck behind them through the twisty second and third sectors. You can see a car off there at the start-finish line. Not quite sure what happened there. It's a bit of a weird place to be going off for Levitt.
A few lap times coming in now. Ulster going into P9 with a 2:27. Yevgeny Patent coming in there with a 2:19.6. So the lap times continuing to tumble, and look at that, Michael Sherling coming straight to the top of the pile with a 2:18.2. Will that be bettered by this guy though, Dorian, as he comes up to the start-finish line now? A few purple boxes in there too.
It's fast, but it's not fast enough, or is it? He's got a 2:17.8. That's 3.5 tenths quicker than Sherling's time. That is a really quick time. I think that was in the race that I did. That would have got him pole position in that race. So that's a very quick time from him.
I think that shows our difference in ability right there. That I think pole position was the 2:19 in my split, and this lap time's around the time that you were competing in, Dane. I think that's for sure. Yeah.
We've got different driver abilities. As we can see, the top two drivers separated by 3 tenths, but after that, there's a second between Sherling and Green, who's in third place. We've not had a time from Alon Day, and Nir Nave is down in 11th. It looks like it might have to be a bit of a switch up for this race. Might see some drivers making a bit of a name for themselves. We see him passing some traffic. So we ride on board with Alon Day.
I would try to go on board with him. He doesn't have the best connection, does he? I think we saw that at Sonoma last time out. So I'm hoping that we don't lose him as he comes through the final few corners. He disappears for a second, but he's back here now as he comes into the final corner.
And he's going to climb up the hill as we see a car going off behind him. He won't care about that. As we see Le Havre in third place, he's going to cross the line just off of our screens.
P1.
And straight to the top of the tables. It's a provisional pole position. And the qualifying session, he's just in time. The qualifying session is about to end.
Can anybody else respond? Nir Nave
Oh, and Nir
goes
Nave.
P2.
So the two drivers from the top of the table last week at Sonoma.
Tabechnic, what can he do? Fastest! 2:17.411. The times are coming, the times are tumbling in the closing stages of the session here.
And that'll be his last lap of the session. Qualifying is over. We've just seen the last of our drivers crossing the line. We see the last few times coming in. And it's a pretty similar grid at the sharp end of the field. Got the new driver. And then we've got Alan Day, Nir Nave, Michael Sherling, and Hagay Farran in 5th place. All the drivers that we're used to seeing here in the iRacing Israel League at the top of the standings.
A lot of very good lap times around there, I must say. And all of a sudden, just when you were talking earlier, Dane, about how there was about a second gap between 3rd and 4th, all of a sudden with those late lap times coming in, it's closed straight back up again. If anything, there's less than a couple of attempts between each car, as we can see on the intervals there. The biggest gap is between Sherling and Farran, who are half a second apart.
Yeah, definitely, and it's looking to be a very close race that we're going to have in just a few moments' time. So you can see the last drivers setting their final lap times. And we got really close through the grid. Lots of drivers separated by even less than a tenth of a second. That's going to hopefully make for some really close and interesting racing for us in just a few moments' time.
A late lap there by Adam Levitt to go up to P6. All these cars have just got enough fuel in the tank and time to set a lap. I'm sure Dorian isn't going to be able to improve on his time. I'm certain that the checker flag was out when he was on his lap, but nonetheless, here he is coming through the final corner now, and he's heading straight back into the pits. It's not going to be an improvement on what is a superb lap time of 2:17.411, and with him coming back into the pits, I think we are all set to go down to the grid in a moment, and we'll find out where the 23 cars that have set qualifying times will be starting. Only one car didn't set a time, that was IMSA Michelin, who will be starting at the back in P24.
Yeah, it looks like all the drivers have finished their qualifying laps and we're just waiting for the clock to tick down. Looks like they've set a bit of a time limit for lap once the checkered flag is out. And I don't expect it to be more than 10 seconds before we start gridding up here at Road America.
Hope so. Ido Isaac there in 22nd. And away he goes. So right, let's get down to the grid and see where they're going to be lining up for the start of this one then, Dane.
Yeah, we've got Dorian Tabechnic in first position on pole position and 2 tenths behind Alon Day, last week's race winner at Sonoma. Then we've got Nir Nave, our championship standings leader, and followed by Michael Sherling, Hagay Farran, Adam Levitt, Ori Lahav, Peter Green, Ahikam Nawa, and Dekal Nar rounding out your top 10. After that, we've got Yevgeny Patent, Oren Sade, Michael Simon, Shay Epstein, Yossi Gabay, Sar Deckel, Rancioni, Eric Alster, Guy Krugman, and Nir Kopp in 20th position. Then we've got Gil Epstein, Ido Isaac, Yehuda Yosef, and Amir Meshalem, our league coordinator, who did not set a time in that qualifying session. Rounding out our 24 car grid for this race. So we can see there on the bumper of our pole position driver.
And immediately everybody sees a safety car as well on the left, which means we are going to have a full pace lap around here. It's going to be a long one, but it'll give us an opportunity to bring you around each corner of this Road America circuit, and it's a track that does lend itself well to side-by-side action, because most of the time, if the corner you're going into is going either left or right, the corner after that is going in a completely different direction. So it does mean that if you do get passed by a car, you do have the opportunity to get back past them again as away the field rolls on the long formation lap around here, the full pace lap around here.
Yeah, it's going to take quite a long time. I think the pace car is limited to about 80 miles an hour, and it's not the fastest car. It is the Porsche Cup car. There's our iRacing pace car for this pace lap as they come into turn 1. It's a good overtaking opportunity. You can see there's a long straight. You can use all of the draft you can muster to try and pull alongside the car in front. And then we come around what is turn 2 officially, but really it's a flat out, barely there right-handers. Now they come into turn 3 and down to the second of our long straights. You can see all the drivers weaving, trying to get some heat into those tyres.
Oh, we got a
Oh,
car
we've got a
off.
car off.
Oh no, it's Edu Isak that is at the back there. Don't often see that on a formation lap, and I'm hoping I'm seeing cars showing up as crashed on my screen. I think it's just drivers accelerating and braking with quite a bit of gusto. But let's have a look and see what happened to poor Edo here.
Has he tried to warm up his tyres maybe and just touched the grass, or has he been punted? He has. Bit of a shunt on the formation lap, slowing up a bit more than what looks like it might have been Guy Krugman behind him.
Was it poor Amir that it might have been Amir Michelin that tried that? Let's have a look again for you. I'm just
Looks like Amir has got some issues. Is it Amir? I don't think it is. I think Amir is in that blue car maybe. No, it is. You can see just there in the Monster Energy livery Porsche Cayman. It is Amir that's punting him off. It looks like it just has some connection issues. Maybe the driver in front disappeared. He maybe couldn't have seen him.
Yeah.
You just need to see what happened there. That's probably what's happened as they come around the carousel. This is one of the longest corners on iRacing. It takes an absolute age before you can get on the power. All you want to do is just plant your right foot down, but you have to be patient. Otherwise you'll end up in this gravel trap and into the wall.
Yeah, and this is one of the cars that's got the new damage model on iRacing. So if anything big does happen there, expect to see wheels and whatnot flying here, there, and everywhere. At least that's what happened in the split I was competing in at the weekend.
Same here. The first lap was a bit of carnage. We had some incidents at turn 1 and also down at turn 4. Those are going to be the main overtaking spots, I think, for this race. And on the first lap, it's going to be very interesting. We have cars running side by side as they come down towards Canada Corner. I'm going to take the opportunity to plug the iRacing Israel League YouTube channel. If you're watching this, then do subscribe to them. Also subscribe to Apex Racing TV's YouTube and Twitch channels. And give us a follow on social media. www.instagram, Twitter, or facebook.com/Apex Racing TV. You're going to get news and updates of all the broadcasts that we do in the future as they get ready for the start of this race. He's holding up the field a little bit. And we see Alon Day got an absolutely amazing start last week at Sonoma. He'll be waiting to see if he can replicate that here. The pace car pulls off into pit road. And it looks like we're green. Dorian pulls away from the beginning. Alon Day's got a dreadful start in second position. They go 3 wide, almost behind. And Dorian's got a nice gap at the front of the field. Alon Day just managing to hold on to that second position as they go side by side. Just behind, it looks like Farran and Nave. And Farran looks like he's got past. Are they all going to make it through the first corner cleanly? It looks like they all have. It's a very clean start there. Though we've got some cars at the back who look like they've got some damage, and that's not the best start. It looks like they've got caught up on yet another incident here in this league on the start-finish straight, as we can see. Alon Day looking like he's going to make a move on Dorian for the first position as they come into turn number 4, downhill braking spot. Very easy to lock up the brakes side by side. And Day makes the move.
In the background, it did look as though when they were going for the final corner that Day and Tabechnic were really pacing the field quite slowly. Well, it was Dorian, he's the guy that's in charge of the pace. And it meant that a lot of the cars towards the rear of the field, when they were going around the final corner, had to slam on the anchors when they saw everybody going so slowly. And I wonder if that's the reason why poor Sar Deckel and Michael Simon are at the back of the field. But you're right, Alon Day has took the lead. He is pulling away. I just hope that for the rest of the drivers' sake that they can persist with the blinking in and out. I hope that's I hope that's just us and it's not the drivers, because otherwise it will become quite infuriating, as Eric Alster is off in the corner we were talking about earlier at the carousel there, the long right-hander, and he's picked up a lot of damage to the front end of his Porsche there.
Oh, just looking at the track map on the right hand side, I wasn't sure if he was going to know that there were a couple of stranded cars at the back of the field. It looks like they've all avoided him okay, as we can see some side-by-side action here between Levitt and Le Havre for 6th position. Oh, and Le Havre's gone wide. Luckily there's some tarmac runoff there, and he's managed to slow that car down. He's running the default livery, and there's a bit of contact there with Nauer. Looks like Nauer might have turned in on him. We'll have to get a replay to better understand what happened there, but he's right back down to 20th place. That is not the ideal start for him, as we can see Alon Day retaining the lead as they come around turn number 1 for the second time. Lap 1 is complete. We've got another car off at turn 1. It looks like it's not too serious.
Oh no, it's poor Adam Levitt. Adam Levitt, who had set a very late lap time as somebody's door mirror goes bouncing down the circuit. Oh no, spin for Shea Epstein. Around he goes, and he was running quite well up the order, but now he's down to 16th.
Yeah, it's very easy to do with the cold tyres and drivers having to avoid him. As we return to the lead drivers here, we've got Alon Day still in first place, closely followed by Dorian Tabechnic in second position. They're going to be having a battle for the entirety of the race, I hope. I saw another driver off at turn 1 when we saw Epstein spin. Looks like turn 1 is causing some problems for the drivers. It is a bit of a bumpy braking zone and entry into the corner, so it might have caught some drivers out with the cold tyres. Not much grip on the circuit yet.
I don't know if it's a trait of this car, but even if you just touch the grass around this circuit, it is almost impossible to save it. And I wonder if that's catching a few of the drivers out in the early going. When we get to the end of the lap, we might go and have a look back at what happened to Declan Nar, who was side by side with somebody going into the final corner and then ended up going off into the wall. But right now, these top two are blazing away at the front of the field. Last time out at Sonoma, Alon Day had it all reasonably under control. It looks like he's got someone that can at least live with his pace here. These two were going at it in qualifying, and they're carrying this forward on into the race. And if we've got a 30-minute race on our hands, we've got a fantastic scrap for the race lead, it looks like, as they come through the final corner and back onto the front straight again.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a battle to keep our eye on for sure, as he's right on the gearbox as we ride on board with the second place driver. He's going to pull to the left very late, trying to get all the draft he can. He sets the fastest lap of the race so far, only lap 2, as they go side by side into the first corner. Still side by side on exit. He's going to have a better run out of the corner as they come just past turn 2 towards turn 3. Alon Day on the inside should have this one covered, and he manages to close the door in front, but that's going to be a bit of a worrying sight for Tabechnic. He's not going to be wanting to close in too close to Alon Day. He's blinking away there as he comes towards the outside for turn number 4. You can see him blinking there. It's going to be a bit of a worry for Dorian Tabechnic as he goes around the outside of turn 4, almost touching on exit. And he's going to have a bit of a hard time, I think, with the blinking. I'm hoping that they aren't seeing as much blinking as I'm seeing on my screen. Hopefully they've got a bit of a better connection to the server.
Have you ever had to race against someone, or maybe not for the lead, but someone in a race like this that is blinking away? How much does it impact you when you've got that going on in front of you?
It's really difficult to really battle closely with them, because you can't really see it much from the TV cameras, but from the cockpit, when they bounce around like that, they really do bounce quite a bit. They're kind of dropped back onto the circuit when they reappear, and they kind of move from side to side. It's not the most confidence bringing thing when you're trying to go side by side with someone like that. I actually had that in my first rookie race. That was back almost a year and a half ago now. And it was funny then, but it's a bit worrying now. As these two drivers of Patent and now going side by side on the entry into Canada corner, and it looks like Patton's just got it slightly wrong. I've done that many times. At Canada corner, it's a very tricky braking zone. Levitt looking to get involved in this one as well. And it looks like Niall's managed to get away with that one.
That was a good save. Yeah, that was a good save by now, wasn't it?
That was a very good save, yeah. As you can see on the timing tower, just a little bit of overtaking going on as they look like they're running side by side once again into turn 1. He's just not going to have the run he needs. And I think he's just going to hang back a little bit, try and get a cutback on Alon Day, and that's exactly what he's done. He's got a fantastic exit, and he's going to run side by side with two Israeli drivers as they come down the back straight. Bit of contact.
Oh, he's going to have some... Oh, God, they're dishing it out here at around 220 kilometers an hour here.
Yeah, he's just giving him a bit of a tap back as Tabechnic has just pushed a little bit wide there. It's good to see that there's no damage to those cars and no one's being spun off into a wall. We've got a car off the track at turn 3.
Oh,
and
no.
it's the car of IMSA Michelin.
Now that's the driver that we saw crashing into poor Ida Isaac on the formation there.
He's got some damage to the right front of that Porsche, Monster Energy liveried Porsche. As we can see, this battling between Dorian Tabechnic has allowed Michael Schörling to close on to the back of this battle. Just a second separating our top 3 drivers. Hagay Farran not too far behind. And it's looking like it's going to be a pretty close battle for our top 4 or 5 drivers, which is good to see. It's going to make it for an interesting race ahead. We look on the track map towards the kink. It looks like 4 or 5 drivers all really close as they come down towards the run to Canada corner, but it's still looking at Michael Schörling with Tabechnic and Day in front. His Sterling runs a little bit wide. It's very easy to do as you lose some grip coming over the crest.
The only thing I was going to point out was at the beginning of the lap, as you can see, 1.6 seconds the gap was between second and third. It's now just half a second, so that little bit of bumping and banging between Day and Tabechnic means that the gap has been pretty much reduced by a second as Nave puts in the fastest lap of the race. You're right, there is a fantastic scrap going on for the places outside the top 10, and here it is. Yossi Gabay, Oren Sadeh, Nir Mizrahi as well, all fighting over potential spots in the top 10, and at the front that's Yevgeny Patent, the driver we saw holding onto the car pretty well through Canada corner. He's leading this train around.
Yeah, it looks like they're going side by side into turn 3 behind. Looks like Mizrahi's gone ahead of Sadeh as they come out of turn 3. It's a good move, runs a little bit wide on exit. You can see all the dirt that's been brought up by the drivers taking advantage of the pretty lenient track limits here at Road America and get away with quite a bit on the exits of some of the corners. So we see some pretty close battles between quite a lot of drivers. So we can see also further down the field, just out of turn 3, Krugman and Epstein having a battle. And it looks like Epstein's just got past Krugman there at turn 3. So lots of battles here in this race.
That's one thing that we do like about this Israel League, is that anywhere you look in the field there's stuff going on. Here comes Gil Epstein up the inside under the Corvette bridge. It's so difficult to get a move done there. And running wide on the exit goes the 10 car. He's had a good race so far, 7 places gained. But Gil Epstein wants to gain one of those places off him. I don't think he's going to be able to get up the inside here into the left-hander. It's quite a difficult place to get a move done. 90-degree left-hander. And then we go under the sausage bridge. Problems for Dorian Tabechnic, it looks like. Wonder if he went off at Canada corner. He has been shown as going off the circuit, and it means now that Michael Schörling is through into second place. Here's what happened to Dorian. If you can, Dane, talk us through it.
It looks like he's gone a bit deep on the brakes, and he's just gone on the gravel there. Maybe put off a bit by Alon Day, braking a bit earlier than he thought, locked up the brakes, and that's him down into third place. Sherling close enough to take advantage of that. He's done pretty well to save that, actually, once you get on the gravel and grass with these new tyres. New tyre model version 7, it's very little grip on the surfaces that aren't the grey stuff. You can see Sherling closing in on Day now. It looks like he's going to have a look 4 tenths behind as they come out of turn 3. We can see all those drivers on the left hand side of the screen setting lap times as they cross the start finish line. We just had from 10th to 13th all happen at pretty much the same time, which is good to see. They're all in close proximity.
Oh. Well, he sends it to Dorian Tabechnic straight up the inside, and he loses it as quickly as he had it there, and that's him back down to third place. Sherling set the fastest lap as well on that previous tour, 2:17.48, and they're going to lose a lot of time to Alon Day now, and they're going to allow Hagay Farran, who's getting quite a bit of love on the YouTube chat, to close in, and he's now right on the back of these guys who are proceeding to really lose a lot of time, and Alon Day is now 1.8 seconds up the road.
Yeah, it looks like Tabechnic just getting a little bit impatient there, trying to get past Sherling at a place that's not really an overtaking spot. It's a fast right-hander that's only really got one line, so trying to go side by side there, it's going to lose him a lot of times. Be right on board with Sherling. Sherling had some really clever driving into turn 4, just managing to spot the dive bomb from Tabechnic behind and just take advantage of it and get the better exit and take that position right back. It looks like Farran's made a mistake as they came through the kink. It looks like he's lost it on entry. So we look further back down the field at Adam Levitt.
Yeah, Levitt is on the comeback trail after his spin at turn 3 earlier, and he has got Nauer right where he wants him. Levitt 3 places lower than where he started. He'll be hoping to get into 8th place in a not too distant future as he gets a good line through the penultimate corner. It's almost flat in these Porsches, and then back down to third gear through the final corner. Used a lot of the runoff area on the exit. Look at Alon Day there with all those guys battling behind him. He's managed to go on and set the fastest lap of the race, a 2:17.3. Oh no, problem for Peyton, who's off in the wall at the final corner. And I hope he's not buried in that tyre barrier, because if so, that's his race over. No, he isn't. Careful with the rejoin, mate. As past there goes Shea Epstein.
Yeah, it's like he's just run wide on exit. You can see where the tyre marks are starting on the circuit. And he's just taking his time getting back on the road. He's got quite a lot of damage to the front of that Porsche. I'm surprised he's not gone for a bit of repairs there. And just before this, I also saw Isaac get into the wall after the kink. We'll see if we can get a replay of that after this. Yep, like I thought, just running wide on exit, and that's very unfortunate for him. As you can see, Isaac. Oh, and he's blinking out terribly here. I've completely lost Isaac. I have no idea where he is on track. I can't see a thing.
Oh no, on our screens he's just gone off at the kink, dipping a wheel on the exit there, and it looks like spearing back across the circuit into the wall, which is a shame for him. I think he's managed to carry on nonetheless, but I think for now he is in the pits, back with second place Dorian Tabechnic. There's Michael Sherling in third. They've managed to drop Hagay Farran, who has now got Nir Nave for company after losing 2 places at the start. He is in contention to take 4th place away from Hagay here through the kink.
Yeah, he's just been quietly following this front of the pack. And it also looks like Tabechnic and Sherling have managed to catch back up today, as Nave is very close to the back of Farran as they come around Canada corner. And up for the last left, it's up the hill over the crest. There's a high curve on the left hand side that you really don't want to take too much of. As they come around the final corner, he's going to look to get a good exit.
You can see that they take different lines through there, don't they?
Yeah, there's lots of different lines that I saw when I was doing my race earlier on in the week, and it looks like Nave's just lost out to Farran. Farran looks like he's got the better exit. As we see Tabechnic setting a 2:16.9. It's the fastest lap of the race. And that explains why it's caught up so much to Alon Day in this last lap. Absolutely flying in second place. And you can see they come around turn 3. He's also not got the best exit again as they come down the back straight, and it doesn't look like he's going to have a run on Farran through the next corner. So we look further back down the field. We've got Adam Levitt closing in on Le Havre. And it's the battle for 7th place. We're going to have a replay of him. Oh, looks like he's making an overtake here. Looks like it might have been on the last lap for 8th position. Very close there, almost touching as they come down into turn 4, and he's made up a position very nicely there.
Yeah, getting past Hagay now. So that is Adam Levitt up into 8th place. We saw those two battling earlier, but we didn't see the conclusion of that fight. We have now. And now it's Ori Le Havre that is now trying to... Oh, he might just be about to hand him the position on the plate here as he runs a bit wide for the left-hander. And that's almost eradicated the whole gap between them. It's Levitt and Le Havre separated by just 0.2 of a second going through the carousel now.
Yeah, obviously he could have taken advantage of that maybe if it was any other place on the track, but through the carousel there is no way you're running too wide around there without losing a heaps load of time. As you can see him closing up, he's got the better exit out of the kink as they come towards Canada corner. He's going hard on the defensive, it looks like, but it's a tricky braking zone. You're almost braking as you're turning in for the corner, and he's messed it up. He's in the gravel. Is Le Havre, is he going to keep that at the barrier? Yes, he is, but he's down into 9th position, and a couple of mistakes has just cost Le Havre 7th position. Levitt moves up, as does Nauer. So we look further back in the field at Michael Simon, one of the drivers involved in that first lap start-finish straight incident, which explains all the damage on the front of his car. He's looking to close up on Epstein.
Just going back through the event viewer to see if I could actually pull it up for you. Michael Simon here with a lot of front-end damage. He's all over the back of Gill here. See if he can get it done for the final section of the circuit. Through from the valley we go, and over the top of the hill we go into the final corner. It took a brave and maybe foolish man to look up the inside there. Oh, look at the power getting put down by Gil Epstein there. It's amazing how he didn't lose the car, and it's almost going to leave him as a sitting duck for Michael Simon, who's going to breeze by on the inside going into the first corner. If this was a photo finish, it would swing just in Michael Simon's favour. And now into the first corner, the bright pink number 420 is going to get it done just about. He does leave himself open to attack on the exit. If Gil Epstein can get a decent run, he might fancy his chances up the inside here, but I think Michael Simon has just about done enough. Indeed he has. So now that he's done that move, let's go back and have a look at what happened at the start, because I'm sure that there was a bit of incidents going on back there. Oh no, he's breezed back past him, hasn't he? Oh no.
Too much action to have a look at the replay now, as Simon just got a bit bogged down, touched the grass a little bit, lost some traction on the exit of turn 3, and Epstein says thank you very much and cruises straight back past him. Gotta love the pork inspired livery of Michael Simon, one of the classic liveries from Porsche's Le Mans cars.
Here is what happened at the start of the race to Michael Simon. So at this moment in time, he hasn't picked up too much damage, but oh hello, now he has. As he and the number 12, Saad Deckel, both collide down the back straight. Weird that they both lost tyres, but they're still able to carry on. So that is a look at what happened to those two at the start of the race. It looked like a quarter panel by at least one of them involved there. Update for you on the fight for the lead. The gap remains at around 1.5 seconds. Last time around, Alon Day did a 2:16.9. Dorian Tabechnic pretty much did the same, as here comes Simon and Epstein again. This time Simon's going to try and get by around the outside of Canada corner. He almost emulates what... wow, he did a good job of keeping it just about on the circuit there. He almost emulated what happened to Le Havre. But Fortunately, both of them able to stay on the circuit this time.
Yeah, he did pretty well to keep it on the pretty wide exit curb there, as we see a car ahead of them
Coming into the
jump
pit.
into the pits. It looks like the 21st place driver of Guy Krugman. Not sure why he's pulling into the pits here. It's not supposed to be a fuel or tyre stop, and it doesn't look like there's too much damage to his car, at least not from the front.
That's a shame for him.
Yeah, not entirely sure why he's pulling into the pits. We'll see if his car gets raised up. If he doesn't retire, maybe he's not put enough fuel in his car, which would be a shame for him. So we see now Michael Sherling, the 200 car. He's dropped back by about 4 seconds to Dorian Tabechnic in 3rd place. He's got Hagay Farran for company, just 4 tenths behind him, and he's closing in. This looks like it's going to be an interesting battle for the last of the podium positions. As we also see Alon Days extended his lead to Tabechnic to 2 seconds. So it spread, all the field spreading out just a little bit. We've still got some battles going on though. Michael Simon and Epstein still battling. We've also got Leviton now further back down the field. As we see now the gap between Day and Tabechnic. You see Day just crossing the line ahead of him. You can see him there.
You can see the difference in lap times there. Day was half a second quicker on that last lap, 4 tenths of a second quicker on lap 9. There was a period where Tabechnic was taking a few tenths of a second out, but not on this occasion. 2:69.8 for Alon Day on that last lap. 2 purple sectors, and Tabechnic with a 2:17.5. Incidentally, Michael Sherling, who we were just looking at a moment ago in 3rd place, is the highest championship runner in the field. Sherling, who is 3rd in the point standings coming into this one, he is ahead of Hagay Farran, who is 2nd in the points, and Nir Nave, who is down in 5th. So some points to be gained for Sherling. He is only he is 18 points away from Nave in the championship standings. And you mentioned before we went on air, Dane, that they adapt the Formula 1 point system for this. So if that's the case, Sherling will get 15 points, and Farran is set to get 12, and Nir Nave in 5th is on course to get 10 if it finishes the way it does.
Also interesting to note that if it finishes the way it does, Alon Day will rise right up into 3rd position, just behind Hagay Farran. He's going to get another 25 points to his name and bring his total up to 50. And he's going to be right up there in contention for the championship after this round, if things stay the way they do. As we have a look at Simon and Epstein. Simon's got back past Epstein, and he is now in an Epstein sandwich, as the driver ahead of him is also Epstein. And he's going to have a look. Epstein down the inside into turn 4, hard on the brakes. You can see the cars shifting their weight forwards. And It looks like, Simon's just a bit deep on the brakes, almost tagging the back of Epstein, but it looks like he's managed to keep it on the track.
I was never sure what gear to have to go into to go through the left-hander at the end of the back straight. I did try 2nd gear at one point, thought that was too high, and then thought 3rd gear was too low. It's a very difficult corner to judge, and these two are continuing a battle that's been going on for the best part of the whole race. It's been a real cat and mouse scrap, this. What about you, Dana? The left-hander at the back straight, I might be taking up some tips here. I don't think I'll get time to do another race around Road America before the evening is out, but 3rd gear, 2nd gear, what gear did you choose at the end of the back straight?
I had to adjust my gearing in my setup, and I was using 3rd gear for that one.
Okay, this is me using the baseline setup here. I'm still able to get 2nd place out of it.
Good job for that. I was using my own setup for that one. It was actually given to me by our very own Scott Newton from Apex Racing Team and Apex Racing TV. We were doing a league race together in that race on Saturday.
How'd you get on?
I did pretty well. I mean, Scott finished in 6th and I was in 13th place after gaining 22 positions. I didn't manage to qualify. I had a bit of a shunt in qualifying involving another driver. But really enjoyed that race. That's actually the Sim Racers Asia league that we broadcast on Apex Racing TV every other Saturday. And it follows the same calendar as the Michelin Pilot Challenge. So the same cars and tracks as the iRacing Israel League as well. Proving to be a good combination for league races. I've had some great battles in that one as well as in this one. And it looks like Simon's got back up the inside of Epstein as they come out of turn 3. Epstein's going to try and use all of that draft. This is a fantastic battle between these two drivers. And Epstein's going to go down the inside into turn 3. It looks like... Oh, and I saw that coming.
Oh, they're both spun.
It looks like Simon's just turned in ahead of him. Not realizing they were side by side maybe, and that's cost them both a position. And it's cost Simon 2 positions as Epstein is now under threat from Deckel. Deckel's now on the end. Right on the back of him, it looks like that car is crabbing just a little bit for Simon. Yeah, oh wow.
It's crabbing a lot.
That's a lot of damage there for that car. Yeah, you can see the steering wheel just at the bottom of the screen. It's quite far to the right. He's having to steer on the straights. It's not what you want. He's going to have to take that one back to pit road for sure. And it's unfortunate. There was only 2 minutes left of the race. So only really 1 lap left in this one. And interestingly, Tabechnic set the fastest lap of the race, as the drivers might have got the white flag. I'm not entirely sure.
I reckon they might have done. We'll have to check on that. And I wonder if fuel mileage might be a little bit of something to factor into the equation too. As up the inside goes Hagay Farran, and he has got the 3rd place, and that looks set to be a podium if this is indeed the final lap. Ambitious move up the inside that's just about paid off.
Charlie's not going to be too happy with that one. It looks like Farran might have just cut him off just a little bit on the exit there, but Charlie's now got Nave behind to worry about. And he's brought up the gap to 0.5 of a second. Tabechnic just a second behind Day. Looks like he's made a mistake in the carousel. He's caught up 0.2 just around this corner. So it's going to be a close one. And also Epstein and Goodbye further down the field. Epstein's just got ahead and they're going side by side as well through turn 4. Epstein's just made the move, but Goodbye's going to stick it on the inside on this corner as well. As they're going to be more contact very nearly as they come around turn 5. And Epstein hard on the defensive. As they come here, we see Alon Day and Dorian Tabechnic here coming around the final few corners. And it looks like if he can hold his nerve for the final corner, Day is going to win his 2nd race in this iRacing Israel League, and it looks like he will.
Oh, it's going to be closer. I reckon we might squeeze another lap in. We will. Now, I wonder if this could throw the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of the fuel mileage. I wonder if that's the issue that Alon Day might be getting, because as another fastest lap gets put in by Tabechnic, I wonder if he's got the fuel to get back home again. The gap has been taken. Tabechnic has been taking chunks out of Alon Day's lead here.
Yeah, he's set 2 fastest laps in a row now, and Day has seemed to be coasting into some of the corners. So he might just be trying to save a little bit of fuel. That might be something to play into Tabechnic's hand. He's going to have to make the move really down into the turn 4 or into Canada corner. There's no other real overtaking spots, or maybe try and make it a drag finish to the line if he can get close enough. It also looks like Shirley has got back ahead of Farran,
Indeed,
which
he has.
I've missed.
I think we missed it as well. It's a quick replay. Looks like it might just be a straight out drag through the... Well, a little bit of a run wide there by Farran, and that was enough to allow Shelling by. 3 abreast as well at the top of the hill.
Oh, he squeezed him in almost into the wall there. It was really hard defensive driving. Obviously, the lap car didn't leave him much room on the right-hand side of the track, Farran. He had no choice, really. Sherling sticks it down the left-hand side, squeezing between him and the wall. It looks like Farran might have some issues. He's got Nave right behind him. as they come around the left-hander before the carousel. We've got Tabechnic just over half a second behind Alon Day. If Day keeps up his good work for the rest of the race, it looks like he's going to take home the win for this one. He's got a pretty good exit, Tabechnic, and the gap is just half a second. If Day makes a mistake now into Canada corner, who's going to close right up to the back. Only 3/10 separate the two drivers. He's going to look to have maybe a better exit into the final corner. It's going to be close.
Oh, this is turning into a grandstand finish here at Road America. Alon Day needs to hope he gets a good exit through the final corner, otherwise he could be really under pressure from Tabechnic. It looks like he has done so though, and here they come to the checker flag day.
Yeah, it looks like he's just prioritised his exit, although that gap is down to 2/10. It's very close to the line, but Alon Day wins at Road America. Tabechnic in second. We've got Sherling in fourth, and a very close finish between the third, fourth, and fifth drivers as well. Alon Day is going to move up into third in the standings after that one. We've got Peter Green. He's currently fourth in the standings, and that's not going to help him too much. A couple of drivers behind him have finished ahead of him in this one. Got Hakim now finishing in seventh, and Levitt close behind. And then we turn our attention to Yossi Gabay on Epstein. This was a battle before our final couple of laps. It looks like it's going to be a drag race down to the line. Just 2:10 separating them, but it looks like Epstein's going to have the better run as they come towards the finish line, trying to get rid of that draft, and Epstein just holds on for 12th position there. Some pretty close finishes we've had in this race so far, as we've got this group of 3 drivers here as well. Got Epstein, Patent, and Deckel all in close proximity, just separated by a second. And is Deckel going to go for a dive into the final corner? And there's massive contact. Oh, and Patent's into the wall. He's on his side. Luckily, that Porsche is going to be able to carry on, and Alistair is pretty far behind, but he's not going to be happy about that one. Deckel making a dive down the inside to the final corner, and he's just slammed into the back, or into the side of Yevgeny Patent in the number 8 car. He's going to be furious about that move.
Fortunately, there's enough space where the bonnet is so he can see through on the way to the line, because the bonnet flew up there after the contact between them.
Yeah, definitely. We're just looking for our last driver here, Eric Alistair in the 666 car, as he comes up to finish off our grid. You can see on the track map, no more cars on the grid. I was going to cross the line now. He's got a bit of damage to the front of his car. I'm not sure where that's come from. Not sure if we saw what happened to him. But that was a fantastic race. Adam, what did you think?
Yeah, it was another good, solid meeting at the iRacing Israel League. Plenty of battles throughout the whole field, and at the very end there, Day and Tabechnic almost had a final scrap for the race lead. So, fantastic meeting. I wonder if the same will happen next week. We are heading from the vast open spaces here at Road America to Snetterton in the UK. The 300 layout there, so it's the longest layout possible around that circuit in Norfolk. So we'll be racing around there next time. Let's get the race results up then and show you where all the drivers finished today at Road America. No, those are the practice results. Hang on, bear with me. Race results. Here we go. Alon Day wins then. Dorian Tabechnic finishing in second. Michael Sherling 10 seconds further back in third place. Yeah, he almost had the lead at one point, Michael Sherling. Hagay Farran finishing in fourth. Fifth for Nir Nave, and Peter Green sixth. Seventh for Hakim Nawat. Adam Levitt P8. Ninth for Ori Lahav and Oren Sadeh in 10th. Nia Mizrahi in 11th place. 9 places gained as well. He's our biggest mover in the field today. Shay Epstein in 12th. 13th place for Yossi Gabay. Then Gil Epstein, Sar Deckel, and Yevgeny Patent. Errol Alster in 17th. Yehuda Youssef in 18th place. A lap down in the end for him. And then 19th for Rancioni, 11 laps down. Michael Simon in the end finished 2 laps down. He wasn't able to get that Porsche repaired after the contact we saw early on with Gil Epstein. Guy Krugman 2 laps down as well. And then Ido Isek, 22nd. Amir Meshulam in 23rd. And Dekel Nar in 24th place in the end, Dane.
Yeah, unfortunate for those last few drivers with some pretty massive incidents at the end of the race. And looks like we've got some drivers in for some interviews, so I'm going to start off then, if we can get him, with Alon. They are race winner here at Road America, but only just, Alon.
Only just, yeah. Dorian was so quick. I didn't expect that, to be honest. I knew he's super quick, but I'm pretty sure my car was so wide. I made sure that my car will be the widest as possible to prevent him from overtaking me. But yeah, it was a good race. I'm happy to win.
Yeah, it was a really close battle between you and Dorian Tabechnic in for the further lead of the race, and you started behind him, and for a minute there, it looked like he was going to run away, but then you managed to build up a pretty big gap, but then at the end you lost it. What happened there? Were you fuel saving, or was he just a bit quicker than you?
No. I knew he's quicker than me. Like, I don't know what his best lap time, but I knew that he's super quick. And I knew that, oh yeah, he did 2:16.3. That's like 4/10 quicker than me. But anyway, I knew that my opportunity will be in lap 1, or it will be never. So I made everything I can to pass him on the first lap. And from that moment, I knew that I need to defend probably the whole race. I don't know what happened to him in the middle of the race, but I guess he saved tires to the end. I don't know exactly, but he drove a great race, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he did have a very good race. He had a bit of a battle with Michael Scherling, who was the third place driver. That's why he dropped back just a little bit.
Yeah, I think we had a contact on straight line, and then when we break into the corner, I think it's turn 4, and he did a couple mistakes that made Michael Scherling pass him, but yeah, he overcome that. He managed to fix it pretty quick. I wished Michael would be able to hold him a bit more, but Dorian was just super quick.
Yeah, he was a pretty good race between you guys at the front of the. Next week, the series heads to Snetterton. Do you have any experience driving there? And if you do, are you looking
in real
forward
life,
to the
no.
race?
But I'm a big fan of simulators since my very first day in my career. And I used to drive it with GPL, if you remember, Grand Prix Legend. So I know the track. I know it pretty well. And when we have a week of absolutely doing nothing during those coronavirus times, so I guess I will practice a bit more than what I did in Road America.
Yeah, definitely. It's giving you a bit more time to practice than maybe you would otherwise have had. I'm looking forward to the race next week. Before I let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I guess to Amir Meshulam, who create everything, this championship, especially during those times. I think it's amazing thing, and he creates something that I didn't expect. So many drivers, and the championship is growing. I think it's something amazing. And yeah, that's it. Beside that,
Well,
and you
thank
guys
you.
for commentating.
No problem,
Thank you very much there, Alan. Thank you for joining us for an interview. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Looking forward to seeing you.
Looking forward to. Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much. Adam, who have you got in the commentary box for our next interview?
Let's have a look and see who we can get for a quick word then. Let's get the guy that finished in second place. Yeah, let's get Dorian Tabechnic in for a quick word, just as we've got their fantastic battle on screen here.
Here I am.
Oh, Dorian, welcome to the commentary box.
Hello, boys.
Which we were
How
just,
are you?
Yeah, we're not doing too bad. We were just watching your wheel-to-wheel battle with Alon Day down the back straight in the early stages of the race. How was that race from your perspective? It was a good scrap with Alon in the early stages.
I think you can tell by my armpit sweat. It was really exciting. Alon is super fast, super consistent guy. Unfortunately, on T1, the first lap, I kind of screwed up, went too wide, and he was able to take advantage of that on the back straight. And from that point on, it was a fight to see who's more consistent, and he prevailed. Alon is really, really good at that. So, yeah, it was a really good run. I really had a lot of fun.
Do you reckon if you had one more lap, you could have got by him? The gap would come down quite a bit by the end of the race.
Yeah, some reason the car felt halfway through the race after I overtook Sherling, the car kind of went understeery. My front left didn't seem all there, but for some reason, about 3 laps to the finish, the car started feeling good again. That's when I set my best time. So I was able to catch up, and maybe I definitely could have gone for a move, but I don't know if I would have taken him. He's really good at defense. So, who knows?
The move on Sherling got us up in the commentary box. It was a fantastic move down the inside at the end of the back straight. I thought you weren't going to make the corner.
I owe so much kudos to Sherling for that, because he saw it coming and he kept it clean, and it was very easy for him to push me outside, even just a little bit, because my car was right on the edge already, and he did really well to keep it clean there.
Next week it's Snetterton. Have you got much experience of having a go at that track?
None at all. I'm gonna practice my ass off.
Great. It's a tough track. I'll just let you know that. It's not one of my favourites, that's for sure. Before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Just like Alon, I want to give a shout out to Amir. He's doing so much work to get this league together. He's signing up all the guys, making tutorials. He's just put on a new website. He's doing a lot of work for basically no pay, just to make sure everything feels like a close-knit group, I guess. And yeah, shout out to all the guys as well for racing clean today. It was really good fun.
No problem. Well done on the second place today, and thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us.
Thank you, guys.
Dorian Tabechnic there. Dane, I hear that you're trying to get in. Popular guy on the YouTube chat, at least what I saw during the broadcast. It's Hagay Farran.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Hagay, we're pretty popular guy in the YouTube chat. We got some fans out there, but a really good race between you and Sherling near the end of the race, and managed to finish 4th position. How was the race for you?
I mean, the race was amazing. Racing Sherling is, as we can see from the last race, it's also already a tradition. You know, I enjoyed it a lot. I was quicker. He was driving really good defensively. I found the opportunity to overtake him, and I did. Unfortunately, I ran into a back marker at the last corner, and that slowed me down. But other than that, fantastic race, personal best lap. I'm really, really happy with this race.
Yeah, it's good to hear. We saw you running with the lapped car. You didn't really have anywhere to go, and Sherling just put it between you and the wall. It looked like it was almost going to get squeezed into the wall there, but a fantastic race between you guys. It was really enjoyable for us to watch. Next week, the series heads to Snetterton. Do you have any experience driving that track?
Not so much, but I'll get on it this week and see how fast I can get to know it.
It's quite a tricky track. It's very narrow, and the corners are pretty tight as well throughout the midfield of that circuit. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. Before I let you go, so we can have maybe another interview, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, first of all, if you look on the hood of Alon Day, you see a picture of me screaming.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. It's a fantastic image. Yeah, thank you to Amir and all the new drivers who joined the league. It's fantastic. Dorian, such a fast driver. I mean, the league just keeps getting better and better and better. Great fight with Sherling and Nave. And thank you so much, guys. See you next race.
Thank you very much, Hagay. Look forward to seeing you have another battle with Michael Sherling. Hopefully next week at Snetterton. It's going to be good to watch. Thanks for having the time to give us a little bit of an interview.
Cheers. Bye bye.
All right, see you, Adam. You've got one more person for an interview.
Indeed, yeah. I will get in Peter Green. Let's get Peter in for a quick word before we sign off. Peter Green, can you hear us? Hello, Peter.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Looks like we've lost him. We've got one more person in the interview rating area. I've seen a couple of people asking for him
Yeah, shall we
on
get
YouTube chat.
Yossi, can you hear us? Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Yossi, come in. Doesn't look like he's around here, so might take that as if Peter's just disappeared and come back again, which makes me think that he might be in for a quick word. Peter, can you hear us? Maybe not.
It's unfortunate.
Well then, Dane, I think our work here today is done. But a fantastic, good race meeting, that must be said. We've loved covering this series since round 2 at Sebring International Raceway. We went to Sonoma, and this is our final round in the States for a little while. We've got Snetterton next week, then we go to Suzuka, then the old Silverstone. Then we head back to the States for a 2-week stint at Mid-Ohio and Road Atlanta, and then Donington in the UK before Interlagos, and then we end the season at Bathurst at the end of May. So that is a pretty decent calendar when you look at it.
Yeah, definitely. It's time to say goodbye to the States for now, but going to the UK for Snetterton. It's not my favourite track on the calendar. It's probably my least favourite of the British circuits. And then we go to Suzuka, which has always provided good racing. And I think Road Atlanta and Donington are two circuits that are going to provide some good racing as well. I've driven some laps around Road Atlanta in this car, and it's really fun car track combination. Hope it provides some good racing. It's a good old long straight to Road Atlanta. And then Bathurst, of course, it's infamous with those walls looming. I'm sure we're going to see quite a lot of the new damage model and that final round of the season. It's going to be interesting for sure. But which track are you looking forward to the most?
Donington, I think, is my favourite track on the whole service, really. So I'm looking forward to that one. The old Silverstone is an interesting shout. See which drivers know that. Of course, iRacing brought out the updated Silverstone with the wing complex. So see if any of the drivers have been practicing that. So yeah, there are a few. I'm just earmarking all the British circuits, aren't I? That's bad on me. Interlagos is good as well. So yeah, plenty of good tracks to go to over the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, obviously a bit of bias with us being British, but Silverstone 2011 Grand Prix, that's with the old bridge layout. That's probably one of my favourite layouts of Silverstone. I think I prefer that in this car anyway. I did some laps of that at week 13, obviously went there, and that was a really great race that I had there. It's quite enjoyable to drive these cars around there, but I think that's all we've got time for tonight's race. So fantastic race between some of the drivers. We had battles throughout the race, all of our drivers in pretty close groups, and really looking forward to the next round. Alon is going to be looking to try and take the lead of the championship as we head to Snetterton. He seems to be one of the few drivers who's got experience at that track, so it's going to give him quite a bit of an advantage there. Until next time, from Adam and I, it's goodbye.